Hello there. Welcome back to the new player guide to Retail World of Warcraft. I'm your host, Yogurt, and today we're going to be talking about getting to level 80 and starting in on endgame content in Season 3 of the War Within. A lot happened over the last week in the World of Warcraft universe. The Race to World First concluded. Congratulations to the North American Guild Liquid for sweeping, getting first place in every raid in the War Within. If you're new to WoW and you've never heard of the Race to World First, it's essentially a race to kill the last boss of each tier's raid on Mythic difficulty. So for this expansion or this season, season 3, we got Mana Forged Omega released a few weeks ago, and the last boss is Dimensius the All Devouring, and Liquid was able to take it down first in the world. So congrats to them. Excellent end game sort of content to watch if you're looking to get kind of hyped about the game. And they announced the next expansion in World of Warcraft. Well, it's been announced, but they gave us the trailer and a ton of info. So for those new to the retail World of Warcraft scene, next expansion is going to be called Midnight. And Midnight is going to be the second installment of the World Soul saga. So they're kind of grouping the next expansions into 3 chapters. So ton of new information out about Midnight, including something that's really going to impact this channel, and it's going to be pretty interesting. They are revamping the new player experience to kind of help a little bit. So if you watched my last season, in season 2, we took a character straight from the beginning on a completely separate account, and we leveled it up. And the way that you level up your first character is by playing the last expansion, which is Dragonflight. And you'll notice when we kind of ended that, it was sort of a rough ending, because we essentially hit level 70, and then it was just like, okay, come into the War Within. So the new leveling process will still have you go through Dragonflight, but they're adding in story mode raids and the next zone to help sort of smooth that process out, so you get a really good understanding and feeling of like where we're at in the story. Now, they haven't said anything about any changes to the War Within expansion, because one of the things that'll come with the Midnight expansion is an increase in the level cap from 80 to 90. So in Midnight, you'll level through 10 more levels. So you'll get 1 to 70 or 10 to 70 in Dragonflight. You'll learn about dragon riding. You'll catch up on all the current goings on in the world, and then you'll go into the War Within, and you'll still have to get another 10 levels. So my hope is that they're also going to smooth out the storytelling in the War Within a little bit, so that you level through each of the zones. Then maybe you go into the Undermine. Then maybe you go into Koresh, because Koresh, as we're about to find out, this is where you really kind of learn about the current story as we head into Midnight. So stay tuned. I'm going to do a short video that just overviews sort of the new player experience that's coming. They have announced that the new player experience will launch with player housing, which is like one of the big things from Midnight expansion, before the expansion actually drops. So if you purchase Midnight, you during 11.2.7, so we're at 11.2 right now in August, at the end of August, 11.2.5 will come out, which will include turbo boost for more gear, higher item level, and then 11.2.7 will come out, which is essentially, I don't know if it's the dedicated Midnight pre-patch, but it'll come with the updated new player experience and player housing. So we will definitely be doing another series. It won't be, get that 3K goal, but it'll be like, hey, I'm a new player. How do I get in here? How do I get involved? So we'll keep that going. And then for my channel, I'm really hoping to add in some more one-off videos. So answering new player questions, frequently asked questions, and not just doing sort of the long form video series. So stay tuned for that. If you've been following along and you like what you see, definitely please like and subscribe like this video, subscribe to my channel. It really does keep me motivated to keep producing more content. And I assure you, the end game content is going to be a lot more fun, I think, than the leveling content. But to each their own. So without further ado, we'll get settled in here. So it's been a week since I logged in, so I have a bunch of rested XP, which is great. However, as we mentioned last time, we finished the campaign. So obviously it was a little accelerated for me because I had some different experience boosts, and I have my warband leveling experience boost. So you might be around the same level when you finish the campaign. I have basically a level and a little bit left to go. So we're going to talk about some of those alternative leveling methods now. And so the first thing, my favorite way to level, just I don't know why I like it. I like to do a mix, honestly. I like to do a little bit of dungeons, a little bit of side quests. So um actually, before we even start killing anything, we're gonna change our talent spec. And we're gonna go into um our next a different role, because if you watch season 2, one of the things that I didn't really like about being a rogue was the only role that I could participate in was DPS, was damage. And Monk isn't that way. Monk can also be a healer, and they can be a tank. So for this video series, what I think I'm gonna do, because Brewmaster has a little bit of hype around it right now, I think I am going to make this series a tanking series. So we'll, you know, everything will still be applicable. Really, the takeaways from this should be, um, what do I participate in to get my gear up and to find, something that I like. But we'll do healer at another time. Healer's kind of got a different bit of a ballpark, whereas tanking, it isn't exactly the same as DPS, but I would say it's more press W than maybe healer is. So I would say that for beginners, the best sort of role would be damage, just to kind of like follow along. The tank role tends to be a little bit more of like a leader. In the trivial content that we're going to be doing now, it does not matter. You can kind of just press W and head forward. When you get to heroic rating and mythic rating and mythic plus, it'll start to get a little bit more nuanced, whereas DPS is really just like do your rotation, push your crowd control buttons, interrupt mobs, press your defensives. I guess technically tanking is kind of the same, but you're the one who has to know where to go, what to pull in the dungeon. So we'll do a tanking in this one, and then I guess maybe in the next one that we do, maybe in season 1 of Midnight, we'll switch over to a healer of some type. So I don't think we've talked about this yet, but we're going to talk about a couple of resources on how you can find out more information about your class. One of them is going to be familiar. Um, and we mentioned it during the first video where I went to go get my talent specialization, but we're going to toggle over to WoWhead. There's two main resources for World of Warcraft players, WoWhead and Icy Veins. I find WoWhead to be a little bit annoying with the amount of dribble that they produce in terms of news. However, their class guides can be pretty solid. So I'm going to be getting a talent build from the Brewmaster class guide. There's also many other resources. So I mentioned Icy Veins, there are class guides there. You can also join class specific discords. Those are probably one of the best sources of truth, because you can actually ask questions, learn a little bit more about um, the spec and why the talents are chosen. That you'll have access to like experts or quote unquote experts in the role. So and then when you get sort of higher through into the real end game, there's a couple other resources. So if you want to look at top players, there are aggregate websites like archon.gg where you can go and you can click on World of Warcraft: The War Within, and you can take a look at Mythic Plus and Raid, and you can see where different classes are sort of tiered. I would not pay attention to these tier lists. There's a lot of nuance that goes in here, and Archon is not the most reliable of the sources. We'll talk about one of the most reliable in a second, but you can select through DPS, tank, or healer. So I want to play my Brewmaster, and you'll see, you know, this is what it was recorded for doing a plus 17 key, and what build they used, and the popularity was 14%. So this is the build that most folks are using. It's a Shadow Pan build. However, there's some nuance here that we'll talk about in a second. So we'll talk about it when we go back to the WoWhead guide. Now, if you want to get really specific, you can go to Raider.io. This is where you'll be able to see under the Mythic Plus tab, timed runs, so you can see class popularity. This is what I would probably use to determine what classes are quote unquote best. It's still super early in the season. We're in like the second week or third week. And so there's a lot of class variety here doing these plus 18, these highest level keys. You can see warrior, tank, prop paladin, vengeance demon hunter. There's a brewmaster down here. Then you can see for healers, druid, shaman, priest, and then DPS. There's a whole menagerie here. So every class is viable. If you scroll down this is only looking at the top timed runs. You can also break it down by looking at classes and roles or specific spec leaderboards. So if I wanted to see all of the tanks based on their IO score, their Mythic Plus rating, I can take a look. Here we can see warrior, paladin, warrior, vengeance demon hunter, warrior, druid, monk. Eventually, you know, we'll see all of the different tank specializations included here. Actually, I think they already are in the top 10. So what else? So we also, for rating, this is great for Mythic Plus, and you can click on the folks. So say I'm playing the monk, I want to take a look at what Monk Z is using in terms of talents or in terms of gear. You can click on their profile, and then you can see what gear they have equipped, so you can know what gear that you want to target. And then down at the bottom, you can actually see their timed runs. So you can take a look, and for some reason, I don't know why the talents aren't loading. I'm not sure what the deal is there. You can see the talents for the other folks in his group, and then you can also open them up in the talent calculator, and you can get that build. And then for rating, you'll want to head to Warcraft Logs. You can also access dungeon logs, and essentially what logs are is combat logs. So when you are playing in World of Warcraft, you can record all of the damaging events and all of this like information and export that. And Warcraft Logs is essentially the hosting site for that. So you can publicly see where people are, what people are using, how much damage they're doing. You can see that on Plexus Sentinel, the first boss in Mythic, Marksmanship Hunter seems to be pretty darn good. You can see all the different classes, and you can filter down too. So I just clicked on the entire raid. You can filter down using the filters at the top to look specifically at what talents the top damaging brewmasters are using. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best one, but you can see here everybody seems to be using Master of Harmony in raid. This guy used sort of the Shadow Pan, but looking at the hero talents, everybody is using the Master of Harmony hero talent to do the most damage. And you can go and filter by your class, filter by bosses. You can expand these to get a look at the talents and the gear that they're using. So again, just like Raider.io, this is a great resource for rating. You can see dungeons in here. I prefer to just find the top person and then look at their specific dungeons and their dungeon gear on Raider.io. So here we can see in Tazavesh, he was using, I believe it's Master of Harmony with Flurry Strikes, I think. So the other bit of nuance here is these aggregate sites and looking at the top, the top people in each in each role or in each key, um, does have a little bit of nuance. There's going to be differences between dungeons that will require you to take different talents. For example, Monk can take a talent that will help cleanse poisons, detox, removes all poisons and diseases from the target. However, if the dungeon doesn't have any, you can free up this talent point by uh, moving it around. So there's going to be some slight variance in some niche situations with different classes. You will you'll find that they might even pick different hero talents depending on what dungeon they're in, or for mage sometimes they pick different specs because they have different damage profiles. And then the other thing that's going to play a factor here is this player has been playing their main character straight from the get-go, and they already have their tier set. So tier sets are pieces of armor that you can acquire from the raid and from your Great Vault that will give you bonuses at certain thresholds. So they're referred to as 2-piece and 4-piece. And this one shows you both the Shadow Pan and the Master of Harmony bonuses. So for example, Flurry Strikes is Shadow Pan. So for example, with Shadow Pan 2 set for season 3, Flurry Strikes deals 10% more damage, and activating Weapons of Order, which is a talent, instantly grants 10 stacks of Flurry Strikes, a trigger on your next attack at 70% effectiveness. And then for Master of Harmony, if you switch hero talents, Brewmaster, gaining Vitality has a chance to cause your next Tiger Palm to unleash a Harmonic Surge, dealing a bunch of nature damage split between your target and other nearby enemies. And then the 4-set bonus is even more powerful. So you'll see that kind of down at the bottom. And so the reason that I mentioned that here in this new player guide, you're like, Yogurt, I haven't even gotten, I just learned about tier sets. You just told me about them. Like, so one of the other pieces of nuance is sometimes these talent builds will lean into your existing talents. And it's less so the case right now. So for example, with Shadowpan, we need to take Weapons of Order, which is a talent that we'll have access to. But this talent build will really lean into using your the most current and recommended talent build will really lean into your tier set to make sure that it's providing you with like the biggest benefit. So when you go and you click on the different talent builds, you'll see on WoWhead a bunch of different variables and variations. And it looks like they're saying Master of Harmony here for Mythic Plus. So again, this is why I would recommend definitely taking a look maybe at the top specs on Raider.io to really see like what they're using, because there is going to be a little bit of difference there. So for example, here he just seems to be using Shadow Pan across all of the dungeons. Okay, here in Dawnbreaker, he used Master of Harmony. Shadowpan. So 20 hours ago, 1 day ago, 2 days ago. So this could be one of those examples of a little bit of the nuance. So I think what we're going to do, just because we're talking about trivial content here, is we might just grab a build and just kind of start playing with it. So I'm going to grab the Mythic Plus standard build. It is Master of Harmony. We might play around with that. We might switch it around. These guides are intensely comprehensive. So if you're super into the game, you're finding yourself with extra time on your hands, you really want to learn more, I would recommend reading these when you're not playing. The best way to learn more about your class is definitely to practice, but they will talk about the different builds. So if we want to look at Mythic Plus, which is going to be essentially our dungeon build, you can see here, although this build makes use of the Master of Harmony hero talents, you may also comfortably use the Shadow Pan tree as an alternative. much more of your damage may rely on triggering Wisdom of the Wall, buff Flurry Strikes, which are 2 of the hero talents. So it's a little bit more advanced to use the Shadow Pond than it is to use the Master of Harmony. So since we're new, this sounds great to us. We're just going to grab this Master of Harmony one and just start kind of like working through. The other thing that you can do is you can take a look at the leveling section. It's kind of hidden on my, but down under Spec Basics, leveling. It will show you a different leveling build, and it'll tell you, just like I showed you in season 2. It'll show you like which way to unlock them and why you should unlock them in this way. If you're level 70, you're just going to have access to all of these, but this might be a better, more like general talent tree. And if you did start from level 1 and you wanted to level as a tank, you can absolutely do that. So since we do have access to all of our talents and our hero talent, we're going to import. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Brewmaster spec. We're going to import that. We copied it to the clipboard. We're going to import that Master of Harmony. We're going to import, and we're just going to say M plus Master of Harmony. Import. And I forgot, we are still missing 2 of our little talent points here. So I am going to make a couple quick changes. I'm just going to unlock the capstone because I want to, which means I need to ditch one of these. Purifying Brew stores vitality, Rising Sun Cake, and we're going to give this so fast it doesn't matter. We'll just toggle that one off. And then the only things that we need to do, because we're level 78, is just unlock these last 2 talent points. But our class tree and our spec tree are really set up for doing dungeons. What's not set up is our bars down here. So what I want to do is be sure to set everything to use shared action bars. That's just the way that I prefer to operate, because it looks like it did save most of our shared abilities, but I like to use shared action bars because it keeps things pretty consistent from spec to spec. There are times where you don't want to use shared action bars because you might have some different talents, or you might want some things in a different order. But by default, it looks like it's kind of keeping everything very, very similar to what I had. Vivify was actually supposed to be in the number 1 spot, and then we have Rushing Jade Wind, and I just keep that one on cooldown. And then I also have my weak auras set up, so I want to make sure that I'm matching that. Blackout Kick is R, Rising Sun Kick is F. This one is Shift F4, and then we got some new abilities that we'll start pulling down. Expel Harm is one that we're going to need, so that was on 2. Chi Burst is Shift Q. And then we got all of these talent-specific ability or spec-specific abilities here. So Exploding Keg is a 1-minute cooldown. Weapons of Order. We have Purifying Brew. I don't think I have Celestial Infusion. We're just going to drop these down. We got Keg Smash. I don't think I have a button for Celestial Infusion, so we'll have to figure out what the heck I was doing for that. And then one major difference here is going to be our taunt. So tanks have an ability. Actually, every class that can tank has this ability as part of their class tree, but is mostly important for tanks. There's some niche situations where you'll use it as you might use it as like a DPS player. Sometimes paladins might need to help out in raid and do what's called a bubble taunt, but really it's for tanks. And taunting basically taunts the target to attack you. So the word taunt is used by the warrior tree, the warrior class, just like kick is used by rogues. So everybody refers to taunt as taunt, even though for monk, it's actually called provoke. So let's take a look here. I got Shift 1, Shift R, Weapons of Order is 2. Nuzao is 3. I'm pretty sure I have Shift F4 as my Touch of Death. I don't have it, but I usually keep Detox as Shift F1. So if I ever spec into that, I do want to have it. And then I have my special kick macro. I can drop down there. So my kick is Spear, Hand, Strike. And this essentially is like a cheesy way to sort of tab target and try and kick the right target. So it'll be great for doing these dungeons. I have multiple casts of roll. I have Tiger's Lust. I have Fortifying Brew on 6. And then, let's see here. So Celestial Infusion, this is new to me. I think last time I took Celestial Brew, maybe? Strong herbal brew that coalesces purified chi escaping your body into a celestial guard, absorbing 30% of incoming damage. Purifying stagger damage increases absorption by 200%. So what the core mechanic that we're going to be working with as a Brewmaster monk is we're going to take damage. The way that Brewmaster takes damage is we actually stagger it. So the damage comes in, but then we end up taking the damage over time. So you're going to see this bar that just popped up when I switched into Brewmaster. You'll see it fill up. It's going to be my stagger bar. And our defense is essentially removing that stagger by drinking Purifying Brew. So Purifying Brew clears 60% of your damage delayed with stagger, instantly heals you for 25% of the damage cleared. And then, so I guess we'll put this maybe on 1, but we do want to keep Vivify. So we'll make Vivify 3, I guess. And then once we purify, we can press Celestial Infusion, which is going to grant us a damage absorb. And when we purify stagger damage, it increases the absorption by a huge amount, 200%. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking damage. Once it gets high enough, we'll clear 60% of that, which will then buff our absorb shields, which will then put on. So we're going to be alternating between the two different brews. So I just kind of want to get started here because I want to level up. I want to hit level 80. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by running some dungeons. We don't have time walking available, which is a bit of a bummer. So we're just going to run random War Within dungeons because we get this bonus experience. And we have our talent builds. We have selected the appropriate role. So when you're in the dungeon finder, you can pick your role from the top. It looks like healers are the most needed. Tanks have a really quick queue though. Healers are the most needed, so you can get a little bit of extra money when you complete the dungeon as a healer. But we're just going to dive in. And the first one we have is Arakara. And thankfully, this is one of the dungeons for this season. So we will kind of like talk about the different bosses and stuff in here as well. It's like this guy's just going for it. And you'll encounter this every so often in dungeons. Especially as a tank. I have to turn that Resonant off. Forage.
Web spray.
So here you can kind of see our stagger bar. We missed the kick. We should have kicked that. So we're getting feared. Forage. That's okay.
Kick.
This guy in. So we can purify our stagger damage, and then we can turn it into a nice little absorb shield there. I'm just gonna hit Touch of Death. And so the way that Arakara works is you come in and there's a bunch of spiders. I think I have them turned into maybe crabs for some reason. I guess not. And in
Kick.
order to summon the first boss, what you need to do
Resonant Forage.
is you need to kill these lieutenants. And so we just came in, killed the first one. So you run down the staircase, head across the spider webs, and you kill the first lieutenant. And then we're going to go and kill the second lieutenant as well. And then after you
Kick.
kill all of the lieutenants, you can come back to this platform that we're on
Call
now.
of the Brood. Web spray.
And you'll fight the first boss. And the only really important mobs here are going to be like these attendants. They cast resonating something.
Kick.
So you want to kick them in. You want to try and like stack them up on
Resonant Forage.
Resonant Barrage. You want to kind of stack them
Web
up as
spray.
best you can. Of course, we're in a normal dungeon, so like people aren't going to
Poisonous
be
Cloud.
super good at kicking. They're kind of just going to W key. That's sort of how it
Kick.
goes. There's Resonant Barrage. And so we killed the 3 lieutenants. We're going to walk back over to the other platform. We'll fight the first boss. Each of the lieutenants does something a little bit different. You saw the first guy, he feared us. Second guy does an AoE. So this boss, pretty straightforward. He will summon ads. Alerting Shrill. So these eggs that just popped over here are going to spawn with ads. And
Voracious Bite.
your DPS normally want to damage them down, but you can also just kind of like keep them away from the boss. So like on normal difficulty, not mission critical whatsoever. And then we're going to go across this bridge here. So we started here, came down, unlocked a waystone, which is going to be our dungeon checkpoint.
Intruders, find them.
And here the mobs change a little bit. We have these
Kick.
web mages, and then we have these big blood guards.
Revolting Volley.
And the web mages cast Revolting Volley, which puts a big poison on everybody. Stagger, put up our shields.
Impale.
Death on the big guy. And you, as a tank, really what you want to be doing is sort of leading the way, but you want to try and group
Kick.
everything up as best you can, because that's going to help your
Alarm shrill.
damage dealers do a lot more damage.
Alarm Shrill.
We're in trouble.
Alarm
Okay.
Shrill. Impale. Revolting
So
Volley.
the part about this hallway that's worth noting is that you want to interrupt that alarm shrill that keeps going off, or that kept going off
Kick.
on specific mobs, because they will summon other spiders. And you can do that by using your crowd control abilities. For me, I have Ring of Peace and I have Leg Sweep, both of which were on cooldown at that point. So here are these sentries.
Alarm Shrill.
And so, like, as a tank, I'm interested in things
Alarm
like
shrill.
ways to group mobs a little bit more closely together. I'm interested in interrupting, and I'm interested in making sure that I'm focused on making sure that my DPS don't take any damage, that I have aggro of the different mobs. This is a normal dungeon, so it's like it's not mission critical by any means. Like you can see the Demon Hunter just kind of keeps diving in there, and that's totally fine. And then we're also in Mythic Plus, we're in charge of the pacing as a tank. So you want to be keeping the pacing going at the right clip, so that in
Thorough
Mythic
charge.
Plus you'll be able to time the dungeon. But here in just a normal dungeon,
Impale.
We're just pressing the W key.
Impale.
We're pressing Touch of Death. No loot. And then this is the last sort of leg of the dungeon. This dungeon only has 3 bosses. And here you're going to find these overseers, which do have a kick. Venom Volley. And then I don't know exactly where people are going from like a Mythic Plus dungeon perspective. We used to go down the sides, this like left side here, kick these overseers, trying to avoid this blood guard. Because at this point you're going to be wanting trash percentage in your Mythic Plus dungeon.
Venom Volley.
But for this normal dungeon, they also recently nerfed that guy, so...
Erupting webs.
Okay, we're not doing very well here. There we go. We're failing as a tank. We didn't have our aggro. These carriers can be a little bit annoying. And then this last boss here is kind of interesting. He will do a couple different mechanics. One of which will be to basically suck everybody into him in like a collapsing star kind of deal. Did he die? Or is he just gone? Whatever. I don't care. It's a normal dungeon. And while he's doing that, he does some stuff with poison. He does this erupting web mechanic. I don't know if he does the poison on normal. And then, yeah, there's Venom Volley. And then these little guys will come in from the side. And what you want to do in order to avoid the collapsing star mechanic is you want to kill them. It's going to give you these little pools. And you can stand in the pools to become rooted. My positioning was pretty bad. So I'm going to try and teleport out of it, which I did. So the ranged DPS really want to kill these guys, and then the tank obviously wants to not tank them super close. So, and that's it. We did Eric Kara on normal. I didn't get any loot, but I did get a level. So you can see we started off just shy of 2. So we got about 4 little boxes, which means like this will be a pretty quick and efficient way of finishing up our different levels. We're just gonna, we right clicked our nameplate. We're gonna leave the group. We're just gonna queue up into another one. We do need to make some changes here. We do need some weak auras for Celestial Infusion 41059. And then we don't actually have Rushing Jade Wind 116847. So doing dungeons is a good way, especially if you're comfortable or have a tank or a healer specialization. The queues will go pretty quick. If you aren't comfortable with that yet, which is totally fine, you can queue as damage. And then in between, what I would recommend doing is like heading out to some of the side quest areas and just working on some side quests. Or at this point, you have world quests open, start accumulating some gold. That could be a really, really good way to do this. Now, with the release of Midnight, a new character boost came out. So I mentioned like gold and world quests, and like we haven't even really talked about renown or reputation. However, if you purchase the Midnight expansion, which is available for pre-order now, you will get a level 80 character boost. So that's going to bring you to the end game, and you're going to bypass a lot of the stuff that we just did in the first 4 episodes. You'll also get max renown with the core war within factions. We talked last time when we were leveling about the severed threads and how you gain renown with them. There's renowns for each of the factions. Severed Threads, the Hallow Falarathi, the Assembly of the Deeps, which is Ringing Deeps, and the Council of Dornegal. If you purchase the level 80 enhanced character boost, you're going to get maximum renown with all of those, plus the Liberation of Undermine, the Cartels of Undermine. You will not get max renown with the Koresh Trust, which is the newest season 3 expansion. So these will give you some cool things. Like you'll be able to go in and access like mounts and different sort of items. So the enhanced character boost will give you a level 80 character, which is going to be the starting level for Midnight, and then we'll launch you kind of straight into the campaign for Koresh, which is going to give you some additional gear. It is going to give you item level 645 gear, which you can see here is about 120 item levels higher than what we have right now. It's also going to give you the dragon riding mounts. It's going to give you 4 30 slot bags and a 32 slot reagent bag. It's going to give you all the flight paths and the renown. So you'll be able to kind of like jump right in there. So we're going to queue up for another dungeon, and hopefully we can make a quick week or so we want to add, so Celestial Brew is what we had, so we're going to duplicate that one. We're going to call it Celestial Infusion. And we're going to make it load when we know this ability. And hopefully that absorb will work for us. We'll see. And then the other thing that we need, I don't think we actually need to track Spinning Crane Kick. We can just cast it. So maybe we'll disable that for now. What I do, I'm gonna go into Cinder Brew Meadery. And Cinder Brew Meadery is not a dungeon in the current season.
You're driving away my paying customers.
Or are you looking for something a little harder?
It was in the last season.
Erupting Inferno.
And we did this, I think, as like a follower dungeon, maybe? I can't remember. But basically, if you are running this on like normal difficulty, you come into this first room and you just start clearing away these bar patrons.
Erupting Inferno.
And of course, I didn't finish my week aura, so we've got
Boiling Flames.
a couple different things
Kick.
here. And the first room has this sort of, they're referred to as lieutenant mobs. So it has this lieutenant mob, Chewy, and Chewy will do a couple special abilities, but on the normal difficulty, it's not really that much. You should probably clear the full room, but we're going to kill this so fast that I don't think we really care. And the first boss is the bartender that's right in the doorway. He hits us with a lot of Brewmaster abilities, but they're mead themed. So he does Keg Smash, and then at a certain percentage, he'll jump behind the bar, and he will he'll have these brews that he'll be handing out, and you want to bring them to the different patrons. So he doesn't take any damage during this. So you just want to bring them.
Happy hour.
And then continue to deal damage to him. You hit that threshold right away. Let's see, can we touch a death him? We did. All right. Skipped a phase. So basically, he goes through that phase twice, and then you head in normal. You can head in any direction. Most people tend to go left.
My zeal to get back in business led to faulty.
We're just going to start picking up some more mobs. And each of these mobs does do something unique or specific. They'll have kicks, and they'll have different.
Batch. Erupting Inferno.
They'll have different abilities and stuff like that, but we're not going to dive into it too much because this isn't part of Season 3. This isn't a Season 3 dungeon. You'll be able to know what dungeons are Season 3 dungeons by hitting Shift J on your keyboard. And that is going to open up the dungeon journal. And then under dungeons, you can click on the drop-down tab and it'll show you current season. So this season, in Season 3, we have these dungeons available to us. Tajavesh, the Veiled Market, which is a 2-part dungeon. There's Tajavesh Streets and Tajavesh Soleil's Gambit.
Boiling Flames.
And Priory of the Sacred Flame, which is a War Within dungeon. Operation Floodgate, which is a War Within dungeon. Halls of Atonement, which is a Shadowlands dungeon. Ecodome Aldani, which is a dungeon that is new to this patch. And then Arakara, which is
Erupting Inferno. Rejuvenating.
there's a lot going on here. Arakara, which is
Boiling Flames.
More money.
Reckless
the dungeon we just did.
Boiling Flames.
And so it looks like 7 dungeons, but Tajavesh is actually 2 different dungeons available in Mythic Plus. So. Oh man, these guys just want to pull everything. Okay, we can do that.
Failed batch.
And we have to pull this anyways to
Failed
sneak
batch.
by, but we don't have to pull the rest. So we'll just pull this into the boss. They wanted to pull it.
Erupting Inferno.
Made of mead.
Failed batch.
My cinder brew.
Erupting Inferno.
Rubians are one thing, but I cannot process this.
Spouting Stout.
That meat elemental took months of R&D. You goody goodies don't.
And we didn't go through that boss too much because we killed it so fast, but he essentially does an AoE, summons some little mobs, and as the tank, it's your job to kite the boss away from the mobs so that he doesn't get a shield.
Bezoica. Bestial Wrath. Kick. Honey Volley. Swarming Surprise.
And honestly, like, it probably looks like I'm just kind of mashing buttons, which is kind of what you can do in normal dungeons. Like, you want to take time to get your bearings. You know, you want to be pushing your core rotational buttons, which will be available to you just by taking a look in your spell book. You know, you'll really get to see what the shorter cooldowns are, like Keg Smash,
Bestial Wrath.
6.9 second cooldown, does
Swarming
AoE
Surprise.
damage.
Honey
You know,
Volley.
you want to read your abilities and go through every spec and talent, or every spec and class is going to be a little bit different with their themes and their rotation.
Bezoica.
But normal dungeons are a great place to kind of do that. And you don't have to pull as big as I'm pulling either if you're tanking. If you're sort of a passenger and you're DPS, they might be pulling this big.
We had to lock up you bees.
And if that's the case, just enjoy the ride and just like focus on you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on doing damage and kicking and interrupting. It's just a normal dungeon, so stuff's gonna die pretty quick.
Bezoica. Bestial Wrath.
Time to bust
This
that
druid
red
just
bee.
loves pulling shit.
Snack time.
For my bees.
And this boss, just a quick overview, he's going to
Honey
summon
marinade.
little bees. Once we kill the bees, we can mount the bees. And what you want to do is
Honey marinade.
you want to shoot the bees, shoot the mounted bees through the barrels on the ground. We don't have to do that, so
We should use them to make a beeline to Goldie's office. Come back to the taps to use them.
Hey! You're really trying to take out my bomb man, my prototype, and my beekeeper. And now you're riding my bees like some nature-loving weirdo? I guess I'm gonna have to show ya and your rock-headed friend who's boss!
and this trash pull is a little bit specific. They do
Downward
basically
trend.
share a health pool, so you want to kill,
Downward trend.
you want to mark 3 to kill them. So as soon as this one dies, you can see the other ones regain health.
Downward
As soon
trend.
as this one dies, the other ones regain health. So
Downward trend.
not super important. Nothing that you really need to pay too much attention to. And here we are. We're at the last boss, and we're almost level 80. You can see we got a ton of XP because it's rested
Spread
just
the
from
love.
doing this dungeon. So we should be able to get away with just doing one more. But maybe what we'll do is go do a
Cash
delve or do some side quests instead. I completely failed that boss mechanic, but it doesn't matter. Essentially, there's
Running with the
barrels
ship.
around this room. When you blow them up with a mechanic like her frontal gun, they'll send out some fire AoE that you want to avoid. And then she'll, at a certain percentage, she'll jump here on her desk and she'll start shooting everybody. So all right. So what we're gonna do now is we'll just take a little detour and show some other leveling examples. One of the things that I might recommend is to just go into maybe a delve, because this is another item that you can do that will help you at endgame. Even if you have the level 80 boost, you still have to level your delves up from level 1. So just going to scoot over to Fungal Folly. And I already did this because I'm on my main account, so I can go all the way up to tier 8, but you need to, actually, it's kind of funny. It's not showing that, but in order to get past tier 4, you have to be level 80 and complete the Kazalgar main story campaign on your warband. This will be unlocked for you with a level 80 enhanced character boost, a level 70 character boost for just buying the War Within. Won't have this. That's what we did this time. So you did a tier 1 delve as part of the campaign. I would recommend coming in and doing a tier 2 delve and a tier 3 delve. That way, once you hit level 80, you can jump right into a tier 4 delve. And our goal with delves here is to unlock tier 8 and sometimes even tier 9 or tier 11. Tier 8 delves are going to grant you the maximum reward in your Great Vault every Tuesday. So the Great Vault is a really cool system that allows you to get a really good piece of gear once per week based off of the activities that you complete in the game. By doing Mythic Plus, you can get hero and myth track items. By doing raid, you can get all sorts of different items, normal, heroic, mythic. And by doing delves at tier 8 or above, you'll actually unlock a piece of hero gear in your Great Vault, which can include a tier piece. So one of our goals is definitely going to be to getting to tier 8 delves as quick as possible. So for our last little block here, actually, I shouldn't do this one because I think already. Oh, nope, there's one. So each delve for the first time that you do it should have a little quest. And you'll usually see a little piece of paper on the ground. You can see 88,000 experience. So this is as much, if not more, than the bonus XP that came from doing a dungeon. And it might take us about the same time. We'll see. Let's take a gander here. So in the delve, you're going to have access to a companion. His name is Bran Bronzebeard, and your companion will be able to take on different roles. So I'm a tank right now, which is a really good one to do delves in. So I'm not really worried about him like dying or him healing me or anything. If you're a DPS, I might recommend the healer role. And the tank roll stinks. Never use the tank roll. And then you can also equip him. You're not going to have any right off the bat, but you can equip him with these little curios, which will give him some specific and special abilities. Like this one, for example, Bran, it's called Hatterang, has a chance to pull out random hats and throw them at his enemies, dealing moderate damage and applying a debuff. 25% damage taken. Damage dealt decrease, attack and cast speed decrease. So, but for the delves, you kind of just head in and you look to the right to see what the objectives are. So the first thing that we want to be doing is we want to be talking to Gila Crossfires, who's right down here. You can see on the map, just like regular quests. And she wants us to power up some drill rigs and collect batteries. So we're going to look around for things that glow yellow, like this mob here. And we're just going to dive in.
Flurry of punches.
And this is a tier 3 delve, so it should, in theory, be pretty easy for us. You'll also find in delves some special mobs or some rare mobs. Unlike out in the open world where they'll give you gear, these are going to give you actually some decent XP, but they're going to give you powers that will power you up in the delve. So chance when attacking an enemy to unleash a sandstorm, blinding all enemies. Nothing like super critical for us. Like we're able to do this totally by our own. So usually, in my opinion, they're actually not worth going after those special mobs at all. Unless because they're typically a little bit tougher to kill than the reward is actually worth. So we're just trying to charge up these batteries here, or charge up the drills with the batteries. The batteries are going to be in a couple different places. They'll be on the mobs, and then they'll also be just like on the ground randomly. So we need 3 batteries to charge this up. And then, so you can see one on the ground down there. And then in delves, you'll find checkpoints. These are respawn points. Delves are a lot different from dungeons. In dungeons, when you die, you have to click release and you go back to the start of the dungeon. If you're a Mythic Plus, you lose time on your timer. In delves, it's all about lives. And I think under like 4 and under, or even more than that, you actually you can never fail a delve. You take your time. There's no time limit. When you get higher in the delves, there'll be a little indicator here on the right that will have a number of lives, and you don't want to die. When you unlock a respawn point, this is where you'll respawn when you release, and it's also going to give you +1 life. So yeah, just a couple things about delves. Really, it's about taking your time and being methodical.
Destroy.
More so than it is about rushing to the end. Of course, these ones, they're super quick. so we can go through it at a good pace.
You're looking a bit rough.
And you'll also find like herbs and ore and stuff like that in here, so keep your eyes peeled. You can make a little bit of money in your delves too.
Destroy. Flurry of punches.
We're looking for another battery. I wonder if there's one up there. I'm sure there's one in front of me, so I could probably get that as well. And the other thing in delves you can look out for is those little pouches. Those little pouches are going to have companion experience for Bran. Bran will... Oh, I'm not seeing anything. Bran will level up with your account, essentially.
Destroy.
Oh, there's one. I see it. Got another power. Send ourselves over here. I don't know why we have water walking. We'll get that second battery charged up. And delves are great. They're just like little mini dungeons just by yourself. You can do them with friends if you want to. You can fit up to a party of 5, or you can just do them solo with Bran. They're pretty okay on the experience level. You can see that we're going to get level 80 by doing this, which is going to be great. And they're okay on the rewards too. The rewards, the best rewards really do come from the Great Vault primarily, and the end of dungeon rewards are a little kind of mid, but we'll take anything we can get. I'm going to try and get some more batteries. I see one up there, and I see one on this guy, so we should be okay.
Bathe in blood. Kick.
This guy seems to be tougher. And one of the other benefits of being a tank is that typically content such as delves tends to be a little bit easier for the tank role because we do less damage, so they scale that down. But because we're tanky, we never really die. So if you are playing a class that can tank, you might be able to take advantage of that when you want to do delves. For example, at a lower gear level, we might be able to get away with doing a tier 8 delve, which would reward us with a heroic piece of gear in our weekly cash. So take advantage of that if you can. And that's pretty much it. So delve, you're gonna come in, you're gonna do the objective, and then they're always gonna end with an end boss that you're gonna want to kill to finish the delve, and then Bran's gonna unlock a treasure room for us. Delves do have some variability, so their storylines will rotate basically every day. So this time we were helping with the drills, and the end boss is this wolf. It's not always gonna be like that. You can actually find sometimes many different storylines. Some will be harder, some will be easier, some will be faster, some will be slower. And there are achievements as well for completing all of the different delve stories. So we finish that. Bran's going to walk over here and blow this up.
I know just how to deal with this.
Oh, we got a rank 3 Hatterang, which is great. The different companion curios will level up. So you can see here I have some that are white or gray. I have some that are green. I just got a Hatterang that's blue. It's rank 3 out of 4. Purple will be the max rank. You just unlock them by doing more delves. And then I don't think I got any gear. which is a little bit of a bummer. Oh, I did. I got a fist weapon, 548, so a little bit higher item level fist weapon. And then at the end, there's going to be this little helicopter. It'll port you out of the dungeon. And we actually are right there. We are like super, super close. So good thing we accepted that quest at the start of the delve. We'll go turn that in right outside, and that'll get us level 80. But if you wanted to, if you weren't feeling comfortable about dungeons, or if DPS was, if the people in there were being kind of a pain or not being very nice, you can go solo mode and you can just go and do all the different delves. You can see here, there's one right here, there's one here, and there's one here in the top zone. I actually hit level 80 just discovering the different locations. So we'll turn this in. And we're at level 80, which is great. Level 80 unlocks bountiful delves. Bountiful delves can be used to get you a piece of hero gear by using a bountiful map. Bountiful maps are unlocked at tier 2 of your delver's journey. We'll talk about that in a second. Those are also best used at level 8 because they'll give you the maximum amount of gear, but you can get one piece of hero gear just by completing a bountiful delve with a map at level 8. So we hit level 80. So what we're going to do is fill out our last 2 points. I don't know which one's actually the best here. Chi Burst increases vitality stored 25%, or these single target abilities contribute more. Let's just take a look at our resources and see what they have for the Mythic Plus standard build. Looks like they have the single target abilities. So we'll put that in there. And we're all set. We have all of our talent points filled out and we're ready to go. So here's where we're at. We have finished the campaign. We did a little bit of dungeons and some a delve to reach level 80. And right when we hit level 80, a new quest pops into our quest log called a Shadowy Invitation. Going to open this up, and this is actually going to be the quest line for the start of season 3. So this is going to award us with a bunch of really great stuff. It's going to get us introduced to the it's going to introduce us to the main characters of this expansion, or of this patch, which we've kind of known all along through leveling through the campaign. We have Illyria and we have Xalatath, but it'll introduce you to one new character called Locust Walker. Locust Walker is essentially Illyria's mentor. So we'll dive into this campaign quest in just a second.
All-devouring is being revived by the Shadow Guard. I need your help.
And each sort of patch and campaign chapter is going to show you sort of like why we're going into the raid. And what we're going to do before that is we're going to just clean out our inventory, because now that we're at level cap, we're going to just switch it up a little bit. We want to clean this out so that we can start equipping gear and knowing when it pops in. So when you're in your inventory management can be broken down in a couple different ways. You'll see these little gold icons on my bags here. That's going to be junk, essentially gray items. You can click the sell all junk items to just get that removed from your inventory. It's just fodder. It's gold fodder. White items like this sunless lure tend to have some sort of alternative use. So they might be a quest item, or they might be a reagent for crafting. And then the other thing that we have here are some items from the delve. And then some of our starter items. So like this necklace was one of our starter items, doesn't have any sell value, so we're just going to delete that. And then these are our profession items. So one of the things that I mentioned was disenchanting some of our items. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a price check. You can go to your local auction house or find somebody on a Brutosaur mount. Auction house in Dornegal is located right in front of me. It's right next to the bank in this little building here. And the auction house, you can buy items, you can sell items. So we do have a couple things that we can sell here from our questing journey. We'll just take a look. Looks like they're worth around not too much gold. I don't know if these would sell just because of how easy it is to get gear. Looks like we have some fractured gemstone locket recipes too. But what I'm really looking for here is under reagents. I want to check the price of the enchanting reagents from this expansion. So Storm Dust at rank 1 is worth 16 gold. If I sell these items that I picked up just raw to the vendor, it's going to be worth 25 gold. If I disenchant them, I have a chance to get 1 or 2 at low disenchanting skill Storm Dust at rank 1. So I could probably disenchant this to make 30 gold instead of 25. It's kind of right on the cusp here. The blue gear has a higher chance for us to get gleaming shards, which actually sell for 56 gold. So in this case, I have a piece of blue cloak that can sell for 42. I have this pummeler that can sell for 82. So it's probably not worth me doing this, but this can be just a good little hack for a new player to just make a little bit of extra gold. So let's just run an experiment and give it a try. Originally, with my professions, I picked up alchemy and herbalism. I've started leveling herbalism by picking some of the herbs, but I haven't really started with alchemy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unlearn this profession. You can only have 2 professions learned at the same time. When you unlearn a profession, you will lose all the skill points. So if I unlearned herbalism and then retrained it, I would start from 0 and go to 100. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up enchanting and Kazalgar enchanting, which actually might not even be worth it, but I might need it to disenchant. And enchanting is going to give you 2 abilities. It's going to give you enchanting, which is the profession to enchant gear, but it's also going to give you disenchant. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put that on our bars, and we're just going to run in a little experiment. We're going to see here. This was worth 58 golds, and we got 2. So we did lose a little bit of money. They're worth 16 gold right now, so we got 30 gold here. Our cloaks are worth 40. We got 3. So we actually did make a little bit of profit there, barely. We made 5 gold profit. Mysterious bindings can't be disenchanted. That's unfortunate. So for a new player, probably would recommend just selling everything to the vendor. This 2-hander, for example, this 2-handed weapon is worth 78 gold. Like, let's just sell that instead of trying to roll the dice here. So I would say, unless you're a proficient disenchanter or you're planning on leveling enchanting, just go ahead and sell these back to the vendor. Looks like a lot of this loot from different parts of the dungeon can't actually, or different parts of the expansion can't actually be disenchanted. Let's see if we can get a blue crystal. Yeah, so we did. We got a little bit of extra gold, but fundamentally, probably not worth it, just given the amount of things that can or can't be disenchanted. Oops. Can't be disenchanted, can't be disenchanted. Yeah, so I would say this is not worth. Looks like only the items that you kind of pick up as you're leveling can be disenchanted. Might get a purple crystal here. Yeah, we did. We got a purple crystal. But we're gonna bag that. And we'll drop our enchanting and go back to herbalism or alchemy. Unlearn. And we're just gonna vendor all our grains. But before we do that, we're just going to fly back over to the alchemy trainer. All the profession trainers are located around and in this sort of main pit area. This is the inn, this is the Great Vault and the bank, this is the auction house, and around here you can find all the different professions, including blacksmithing. Over here we have alchemy, so we're going to pick that one back up. We definitely lost money just with the training costs alone, so don't do what I did, just vendor it. So we'll hit that. We'll just start vendoring our gear. Sell, sell, sell. And I think I sold the necklace that I was probably supposed to keep, but we're just about to go do the campaign quest that gives us a bunch of stuff. So I'm not too worried about that one. I'm just going to keep some of this stuff up here. And we're up to 13k gold, which is an okay start. I'd like to have a little bit more, but we'll get there. That'll be an interesting part of our adventure. And the last thing that I need to do is just fix this weak aura before we go into battle.
You want us to abandon our hunt for Xalatath?
Dimensius the All-Devouring is being revived by the Shadow Guard. I
So
need
we're going
your
to change
help.
this one to Rushing Jade Wind. And we're going to change the ID. Change the load. And then I'm just going to change Spinning Grain Kick to Load Never. Sorry, that's a little weak aura stuff. And we'll get started on the
Dimensius
campaign.
must be stopped.
So anytime you're going through a campaign quest, if you want to kind of get a refresher or a catch up on where we're at, you can click play movie and it'll give you the latest cinematic to sort of explain where you're at. One of the things that they're fixing in Midnight about the Dragonflight expansion is you don't understand how we go from the first raid with Razageth into the War Within because those cutscenes aren't explained. It's kind of the same here in season 3. So season 2 was this entire liberation of Undermine story, and we ended in Ashgahat. We never even went into the Nerubar Palace raid. So essentially, long story short, Xalatath was infecting the minds of the leaders of the Nerubian, or the leader of the Nubrian, Queen Anubareth. We go in, we take her down. While that's happening, Gallywix, a goblin mob boss, is working on some mischievous stuff involving what's called the Heart of Darkness, which is an item that Xalatath needs for her plan. They acquire it for her, and they're infusing it with some of the dark blood, which is part of the quest chain that we did in Ashgat and a little bit in the Ringing Deeps. We take care of Gallywix, get him all set, and then all of a sudden, now we're in season 3, and we're presented with a disturbance from the Ethereals, which is this race that Locust Walker is. They're void related.
After so long, Master, it is time. The Harbinger's failure has opened the way. The vast power she placed within this dark heart will give you new life. So come, Lord Dimensius. Come feast upon this universe. Let your darkness reign forevermore.
We've all heard it, old friend. The voice of our greatest fear.
Dimensius is rising, Venari. And should he assume his full power,
He will devour all that exists.
just as he did to our beloved homeworld, Karesh.
So I forgot one little story tidbit there. The Heart of Darkness was stolen from Xalatath by some rogue Ethereals. They summoned the Void Lord Dimensius, who ate their home planet, and they want him to eat some more planets.
The Karesh Trust has tasked me with stopping Dimensius and defending Tazavesh.
And just like last time, not going to read all the quest texts. We will listen.
The All-Devouring's attack left us refugees. The Shadowlands demanded stronger containment suits than our wraps.
And we'll watch the cutscenes.
Mencius, the all-devouring, stirs.
How? Mencius was slain in the Netherstorm, along with Nexus King Salhadar.
Like the Koreshi people, the all-devouring was merely shattered and dispersed. On every world the Shadow Guard assaulted, they searched for fragments of their master. I have a new ally who revealed the Shadow Guard's methods and treacheries to me. Come, we are on the hunt.
All right. And for those new to World of Warcraft, we start off this campaign by sort of liberating Tazavesh, the Veiled Market. This was a zone that was unlocked in Shadowlands, and we visited these folks. Now, you will not see this if you're a new player. I've completed this campaign quest on my main character. So you can, once you complete it the first time on your first character, you can skip through it and unlock your artifact cloak, which is a high level cloak. But we're just going to continue through this because we want two things. One, I want you to see what it looks like and follow through. Two, it's going to give us better gear than what we have here. So it'll start us off with some catch-up gear. So first thing we do here is we go in and start talking to and helping out some of the locals, which is very typical of the Warcraft. So we need to help out these three folks that give us different quests. One of them is to recapture these beasts. I'm not really sure what to expect in terms of damage taken from these mobs. Sometimes they will scale them up a little bit, sometimes they won't, so we'll just see, and hopefully we get a weapon soon first, because I'm not doing a whole lot of damage to these folks. I would probably recommend just switching back to our DPS spec, but I want to try and get used to the different abilities of Brewmaster, so I'm going to stick on Brewmaster. I think I want to make some changes here. I want Rushing Jade Wind to be Shift F. I want Spinning Crane Kick. And so we're just going through doing the quest. So we want to help this guy capture his escaped creatures that are on the rooftop. We'll do that. And we'll pop downstairs. We'll turn that in.
Speak your mind.
This is also going to reward us Valor Stones. Valor Stones are essentially a currency that is used to help us upgrade gear. We haven't needed to upgrade any gear yet, but Valor Stones are capped out at a maximum of 2,000. And they're basically the base currency for upgrading gear alongside crests, which we'll talk about when we get some more crests. We'll probably get some from this area. So you can see here, this is our catch-up gear. Really, really good for us. So it's going to be Explorer gear. I was just talking about gear upgrades. There's different ranks of gear, different sort of brackets. There's Explorer, there's Veteran, which is going to be equivalent to the looking for raid difficulty. There is champion, which is going to be equivalent to the normal raid difficulty, hero gear, which is equivalent to the heroic raid difficulty, and then myth track. So myth track is going to be obviously mythic gear. Explorer is the lowest, but as a new player, it's starting me off through my leveling experience, I'm around 490 on these shoulders. Obviously, I have some higher level gear, but it's going to give me 642 item level gear. If you pick up the enhanced character boost, it is going to start you with 645 item level gear. So this campaign, the gear from this campaign won't be as useful for you as it will for someone who's just like leveling up a brand new character. So that character that you boost will be in a pretty good spot.
Kick.
That being said, you still want to do this because it's going to unlock your artifact cloak, which we'll talk about at the end of this if we get through it, if we're going to try to. We should be pulling more than one mob, that's for sure. And we're going to see some pretty big, substantial jumps in terms of our gear and our damage as we increase our item level by about 200 across this campaign.
Kick.
And golden rule of questing is to always look for the items that you need before killing the mobs. So we're gonna fly around a little bit and just try and find some of these stolen barrier projectors. They're not apparent on the map, which is a little bit unfortunate. So you want to try and stick to this little area that you're working in here. Oh, that's a juicy amount of mobs. And there's a stolen barrier projector.
Kick.
There's another one.
Kick. Kick.
All right, how many more do we need? 2 here, so bring us to 6. It's number 7. And one more for number 8. Might be able to go in this door. I don't know if there's one in here at all. Here's one. Oh, we actually need to go in there. I didn't notice that. Just saw it as we're flying away. We need to seal this unstable artifact. So sneak in here. Try and do it without pulling the mobs, which we did. Rolling Tiger's List away. And we've helped everybody out, so we're gonna fly back up here.
Wealth can solve any problem.
Turn this in for our shoulders. Equip those right away. Huge upgrade for us. This is also going to give us a bit of a transmog set. It's not the prettiest, I don't think, for leather. And then we've got a necklace to pick from. Take a quick look at the Season 3 guide on WoWhead to see what our good stats are, if we like haste or not. It says versatility crit, haste is our worst, so we're going to take the crit burst neck.
Always a pleasure.
Another big upgrade there.
Does this affect the schedule? These aren't accidents. This is sabotage. The Shadow Guard. Do you sense that?
Investigate the void presence.
Yes, a void
Oop.
presence.
There it is.
Void presence is fresh. Champion, can you see it? Follow the trail.
Follow the trail. Looks like it's sending us through the gate. If you're wondering where to go, just keep an eye on your map.
On your word, I'll drag them from the shadows. Dimensius must. I'll drive them into the open. You must deal with them.
Okay. Okay, these guys are annoying.
My ally warned me the Shadow Guard were already in Tazavesh.
I sense more movement in the shadows. Get ready. Your mysterious ally
That was
correct.
fun.
Well fought. Let us return to Omen and see what more we can uncover.
All right, let's head back out. Head back up to Omen.
No bad news, please. I am very busy. Mencius, the all-devouring. His return grows ever closer.
Invaders!
They raid our energy to feed their master. Champion, Windrunner, we have a city to save. What has gone wrong now?
All right, there we go. Got a pole arm. Just gonna change our loot spec over to the tank. Make sure it's
There is much left to do.
want there. Ooh, they got a couple different things. So 2 quests. Each one will give us a one-handed weapon. So Brewmaster can use 2-handed staves, pole arms, and then we can also dual wield as a Brewmaster. So we'll take a look. A lot of this stuff has haste on it, which there's no point really in min-maxing stats right now.
May your aim
Um,
never falter.
But We might just take the staff for the simplicity of it. We'll see.
I fixed the barrier projectors. Set them up. Hurry.
And so we're into the quests now. We need to kill a ton. Oh, it's a bonus objective. Get 10 Valor Stones and 23 gold if we kill 20 of these infiltrators. So I'm not sure if that's what we'll do, but we'll see. Doesn't really seem like the juice is worth the squeeze there.
This must be Thalatat.
We'll have to see how many we just get.
To hide her steps, just as
We
she
do need to
did in
kill
Thalatat.
specific mobs for saturated and tropic cores.
Kick.
We'll just see how much we get. Just from killing those alone. Again, we're going around, we're looking for the dots on the map, we're landing, we're killing everything.
Kick.
This quest chain was a little tough on launch day because there were just so many people around. It's kind of funny. So I mentioned it in Delves too, but one of the really nice things about being a tank is, like, you know, we're relatively under geared, but we can take some hits. We can heal ourselves up. We can play defensively, so that allows us to pull a little bit bigger than we might have if we were a rogue, like we were last season. We got the entropic cores. I'm going to turn this one in. So that's going to give us the sweet javelin,
Stay alert.
which is going to be a big item level upgrade for us. And I mentioned it
We must
before,
get the
but
Guardians working again.
martial
Hazaveth
weapon
depends on
users,
this technomancy for their survival.
monks, warriors, rogues, things like that, they get big upgrades from their weapons because they do more weapon damage, and some of your abilities deal, their base damage is determined by their weapon damage. So you always want to be, and even for casters, weapons are still really good. They have the biggest stat budget, so they give you the most amount of stats compared to any other slot of armor. Every one is like tiered and scaled up. So weapons are really important for everybody, but they're
Kick.
super important for us dealing damage here. We should start to actually notice a change in the amount of damage that we do to these mobs, start killing them quicker. And then as a tank, that's going to be useful because the more damage we do, the better our aggro is, so the easier it is for mobs to kind of stick to us, and less likely that they'll go and hit a DPS player.
Kick.
So we're just continuing along with the quest. If you do get those entropic cores, try and get those quick so you can reinvigorate these guardians. That'll be the second quest that comes from Illyria afterwards, so we want to do that. And we're actually getting pretty close on our bonus objectives, so we'll probably do that as well.
Kick.
And I mentioned earlier at the start of the video, there's, you know, a new expansion coming out. There's a ton of new and great stuff coming in that expansion. It's going to be a really, really fun time to play World of Warcraft, in my opinion. Long-awaited features like player housing are going to start coming into the game pretty soon. Particularly
Kick.
great for folks that might be coming from other games like Final Fantasy. I know that player housing is a big thing for folks. They've been it's been missing from World of Warcraft for a long time, and they've decided to finally add that. And in the previews that they showed in the at Gamescom this past week, it just looks so good. It looks really cozy, and the items that they use and the way that they have it set up allows you to really customize anything that your heart could desire. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The neighborhoods look really fun. There's going to be neighborhood activities and all sorts of stuff that'll be fun to do for players. Should open up a new sort of end game activity, collecting stuff for your house, much like transmog collecting. That'll be super fun. All right, almost done here. This one does take a little while. We're looking for more Tazavesh citizens, and we're looking for one more guardian and one more projector. Barrier projector.
Find cover. We'll deal with the threat.
I do see a dot up here. Oop, I see a guardian, so we'll grab that one. Yep. Somehow I'm in combat with this guy over here. Now I'm not in combat. Another projector. Last one there. I see a civilian. We'll help him out.
Kick.
Run. We'll cover your escape.
Two more civilians. I'm just gonna turn this one in just in case.
No
Complete.
target.
Complete.
May your aim never falter.
All right, let's fly around. There's one. Just need one more.
Run. We'll cover your escape.
A little hard to see while we're flying here where the civilians are. Oh, there's one. Just barely saw it. Got stuck in a tree.
Maybe Locust Walker is right.
Turn in this quest with Illyria. We get another weapon.
She's
I don't know. I don't think it matters. We're just going to take the staff again because it's got the highest gold value.
He was looking for the shadow.
Go back to Locust Walker. Looks like we might have missed a quest for the Oasis. Might be part of my main account campaign, so we're just going to hold off on that one for right now. They want us to kill the Shadow Lord, probably the leader of the attack.
We will feed this city to the all-devouring.
I didn't mention it. I mentioned it in Season 2, but I haven't mentioned it since we hit our level cap. But once you hit the level cap in the War Within or in whatever expansion we're in for World of Warcraft retail, there's a bunch of different stuff that you can do at endgame. You're not just limited to running raids and doing dungeons. Those are two of the primary things that folks do. They'll push their Mythic Plus rating up.
Shadow Guard would have won
they'll
if
run
not
raids.
for your allies' warning. It's time we were introduced.
Teleria. We've already met.
You... No! We need her!
I see you haven't changed at all.
You have joined forces with her. Have you lost your mind?
We are desperate. If Dimensius is revived, then all worlds will be devoured.
You broke my dark heart, Illyria. Without it, I cannot prevent Dimensius's return. At least, not on my own.
This is madness. We cannot trust her.
I'm not asking you to trust her. I'm asking you to trust me. Dimensius must be stopped. So
I could never ally with that monster.
If it isn't my...
What a
I cannot
twist.
believe you would partner with her. She's trying to kill me.
Can you imagine?
We've all tried to kill each other. Focus on the Void Lord, who will devour us all if he emerges. Dimensius was smashed into as many shards as Koresh. But you've allowed the Shadow Guard to piece him
And then
back
in
together.
traditional World of
I should
Warcraft
defend her. Why are you protecting her, Locust?
fashion, we're gonna have a quest that's just gonna introduce us to the different vendors that are here. So it's gonna send you over to the innkeeper. You're welcome to bind your Hearthstone here. There is a portal back to
That
Dornogal,
means
and
if
it is
you
close to
kill
2 of
me,
the season 2
you may
dungeons.
destroy
I think the
me
portal's a
as
little
well.
farther away though, so I keep my
That
Hearthstone
would
in
be my
Dornogal.
next stop if I were a Void Lord.
There remains much to do.
But it'll have us talk to the innkeeper. Come over here, talk to the quartermaster.
Just another kind of oath.
Quartermaster is going to give you different items as you level up your renown track with the Koresh Trust. You can level up your renown in a couple different ways. There's a weekly dungeon quest in Dornogal that'll give you 1500, and then just by doing this campaign you'll get up to about 4 or 5 just by completing the different campaign milestones. So you'll see up here at the top there's 5 chapters available. 3 of the chapters were available the first week. The 4th chapter was available the week that the raid opened. The week after that, this most current lockout, the 5th chapter was available, 3, 4, 5, and the 5th chapter ends with a quest that is going to ask you to go kill Dimensius. And once you do that, by the time we're doing that, story mode will be available, so it's super quick and easy. You can get a crest that will allow you to craft a hero track piece of loot. So we're going to talk about hero track and loot and all the different ways to get that in our next video. We are going to end it around here just because I feel like this is a good breaking point. If you're playing along, my recommended next steps for you are to complete this campaign in its entirety. So getting all the way through all 5 chapters to pick up the quest to kill Dimensius, because the LFR wing is going to open up tomorrow that will allow you to kill him along with story mode, and you can craft that hero piece. You're also going to get some upgraded pieces of loot, so we'll be at around 640 item level, and you'll get your artifact cloak. So your artifact cloak is awarded at the end of chapter 3, and you can it's going to be like 707 item level. You can upgrade that past 720. So that'll be a big piece for you. Obviously a big item level jump on your cloak. It's also going to give you special powers based on your role. I no longer need XP, so I don't need to log out in an inn. One of the things that is beneficial about logging out in an inn, even if you don't need rest XP, is it actually gives you can skip the logout timer. But you can also skip that just by clicking exit game. I mentioned before that last cutscene You're level 80 now, so congratulations, that's awesome. At level 80, the world is your oyster. I'm gonna follow the best recommended path to get to my goals. But I would ask yourself, what are your goals in World of Warcraft? If your goals are to find friends to play with, let's look for a guild. If your goals are to collect mounts and armor appearances, you're a collector. You can complete this to just get more powerful and collect some of the stuff from the current expansion. But you can also, at this level, go back to any of the old expansions. You can view the old raids and their rewards from the dungeon journal, Shift J on your keyboard, and you as a max level character can comfortably solo anything, raids, dungeons on any difficulty from Battle for Azeroth all the way back to Classic. When you get a little bit of gear, like maybe by completing this campaign quest chain, you can solo the stuff from Shadowlands raids as well. And bosses on mythic difficulties for most of the Legion, Battle for Azeroth, and Shadowlands dungeons will reward you with cool mounts. You can view all of the different mounts by clicking Shift P on your keyboard. You'll get some of them from your pre-order if you got the deluxe pack. But there's all sorts of like really cool mounts that you can get from different parts of the game. This is one of the mounts that we'll get through our journey. This is the Keystone Master mount. So just by getting 2000 Mythic Plus rating, you'll get rewarded with this mount. So that's one of our goals, along with 3000 Mythic Plus rating for a different variation of this one. But there's all sorts of old content that you can go back and get things from. So you can start collecting mounts. You can go and collect appearances too. So if you hit Shift P again, you go under the appearances tab. For your class, there's going to be all sorts of armor, transmog appearances, sets. You can scroll back down. Monk was introduced in Mists of Pandaria, so our first tier set was available in Mists of Pandaria, Heart of Fear. You can collect all of these items on different difficulties to make your character look cool and different. You can transmog these from any of the transmog vendors. And we're talking like all sorts of content here. So like everything from here down is Shadowlands all the way back to Mists of Pandaria. If you're a different class that's been around longer than Mists of Pandaria, you'll have even more. You can go into the Burning Crusade raids. You can go into classic raids, Wrath of the Lich King, and you'll have tier sets that are available there as well. And you can collect all these cool armor appearances. And then, of course, the true end game pillars of retail World of Warcraft are going to be raiding, Mythic Plus, and PvP. So raiding available on multiple difficulties, starting with the Looking for Raid, which is a random group put together by the game. Looking for Raid is the lowest difficulty. Then you have normal, heroic, and mythic. Heroic and mythic add increased mechanics to each of the bosses, increased health, increased damage, but they also increase the rewards. You can view the rewards from the current raid by clicking Shift J to open your dungeon journal, raids, Manaforge Omega, and then you can look through the loot on the loot tab. And you can see here normal awards champion gear, heroic awards hero gear, mythic awards myth gear. And so you can start working your way up there. For Mythic Plus, we have the current Season 3 dungeons, which I mentioned before. Mythic Plus system is pretty straightforward. You get a keystone. You can get a keystone by completing any dungeon on Mythic 0 difficulty, which also awards champion track gear. We'll dive into that in our next episode once we finish the campaign. And Mythic Zeros will give you a keystone at the end. The keystone will be at the +2 level. So every time you complete a Mythic keystone, it'll increase that keystone's level, which will add what are called affixes to the dungeon, which will increase health and damage and add some special unique abilities to the mob throughout the dungeon. And at different breakpoints, you'll get higher pieces of loot. And you'll get higher pieces of loot from your Great Vault. And then the other endgame pillar is PvP, so player versus player. You can open the PvP tab by clicking H on your keyboard. You have all sorts of different PvP variations available. You can do quick matches, which are unranked, into random battlegrounds, which are smaller 10v10, epic battlegrounds, which I think are 40 players, so 20v20, arena skirmishes, which is 2v2 or 3v3 deathmatch, and then you can also do rated PvP for higher rewards. You'll also get a seasonal mount. Every season they have mounts that come out for both Mythic Plus PvP and for raid. You can do solo queue for arenas, solo queue for battlegrounds, 2v2 arenas with a pre-made group, or 3v3 arenas, or rated battlegrounds 10v10. So there's a ton of PvP content available, different ways, different things that can be different ways that your class can be useful or helpful. Typically, this is for DPS and healers, although sometimes tanks do make an appearance, particularly in battlegrounds. And then you also have delves. I mentioned it before. We want to level our delves up to rank 8 so that we get the maximum rewards from our Great Vault. And then coming soon, supposedly within this year, so within 3 months, we'll have access to player housing. Player housing will add even more for a collector to do. And then if you're a completionist, you can also go back and start doing quests from all of these old zones and different areas. You can collect things, you can complete all the different quests and explore all the different areas, learn about the stories from starting in Cataclysm, all the different expansions. You can play through those if you want to. You will just kind of destroy the mobs. You could also level another character too if you want to. So there's like a ton of different stuff that you can start to do at endgame, which you are now at. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, like I mentioned, and we're just going to continue this long form explain everything content to help new players get into retail World of Warcraft. Our goals are PvE goals, so we're going to be trying to get 3,000 Mythic Plus rating, and we're going to be trying to get the ahead of the curve achievement just through pickup groups. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be kind of the next chapter. I'm going to show you how do you get from item level 550 or even 645 if you buy the enhanced boost to above item level 700. How do you start doing some of the content at the very, very end? Higher Mythic Plus around the plus 12 area. How do you go from LFR to normal to Mythic or to heroic rating? And we'll talk about some different tips to get into Mythic rating too. And we'll start working with our Great Vault as well. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching this episode. Next episode, we'll really get into the heat of it.